by thanking you all for being here and for listening to my career and how passionate I actually became about it. The best way to predict our future is to create it. This was a quote by Abraham Lincoln. This quote really got me thinking about my future. If I truly have the power to create it, then what do I do? Where do I see myself within 5 to 10 years? How do other people create their futures? I had so many questions and I needed answers. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has wondered about their future and what's the next step in this journey that we call life. Going to high school, where everything is chosen for you, and then having to pick your career that is basically what's going to be your work's life. It's tough. It's a really tough decision to make. It requires a lot of research and thinking. So I actually investigated and read a lot before taking my decision. I re-evaluated myself that like I've never done before. I started thinking about my skills, my interests, my traits, everything. And today's journey is going to be how I actually chose my career. Then I will go into details about it. And finally tell you my plan and how do I intend to get to my dream job. While being in high school, at least myself, I didn't think much about the future. However, all of that changed when graduation time came around. And I needed to figure it out what I wanted to study because everybody needs a degree for something. My first stage was total panic. I felt like the gates of the future were literally closing on me because I've never considered what my career could be. I considered actually going to my parents for help. Although they were a good guidance, they could not choose for me. They told me to start thinking about subjects in school that I really liked and that were interested to me. But that wasn't enough. So next, I thought about going to a counselor. They advised me to read some about like the colleges around me and what do they offer and what their programs are, which was like the best way to start. So that's when my panic started to settle, right? I felt like I was actually going somewhere and I was aligned into the steps that I needed to take. I decided to take a deep look into myself. There was nothing that would have made me choose a better career than actually knowing myself. Figuring out what I like, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? All these questions that I had from that quote needed to be answered. While thinking about this, right, there were some external factors that led me into leaving my country and moving here to the US. Leaving my country was a difficult situation because basically I had to leave because of our government. And it made it even harder to focus on what I wanted to do because it was about leaving my everything behind, my career, my friends, everything that once made me happy. However, though, with the help of my family, I actually started to center a little bit more. And because of the situation that I had in my country, I actually decided that I wanted to do political science. I wanted to help other countries not to get to a situation where they have to leave their homes to be safe. That is when Valencia College, the website itself, helped me a lot because I went through the education requirements and the program requirements for political science. And every single class that I saw, I was just like, okay, this is exactly what I want. This is what I need, right? However, though, the months kept passing, and everything's changed when I got my first job. I started working for a nonprofit where the human resources department would go above and beyond for their employees. They created a real culture where people would feel welcomed and would be interested in having a job, right? Something that I always thought about being boring actually became something that I wanted to do. I wanted to wake up every morning and go to my job. It became pleasant. I felt conflicted because I had already enrolled, right, in college for political science, and it was something that it meant a lot to me. But then human resources started to be very appealing because it was a way of helping people to always have a good place when it comes to their workplace. And that's basically where we spent most of our time. So after I did some investigation in the Masters in Human Resources, that's a website that I found, I also realized that I even have the personality traits necessary. I have compassion, I'm organized, I'm empathetic, I have really good communication skills. And with all of this information, it convinced me even more that this was the career that I needed to take. This was my path. And now I just needed to do like some more investigation about the job itself, right? Like what were the responsibilities, what education was needed, the pay, employment opportunities, all of that you need to consider it while choosing your career. And thanks to my professors at Valencia, I actually discovered the Bureau Labor of Statistics. Basically, it's a government website that gives you all the statistics and information about a job outlook. While reading, I learned many things. First, I read about the actual job description, which is overseeing the recruitment, the interview process, hiring the new staff, consulting with the top executives of a firm or an organization. Strategic planning is involved a lot, and they're basically the link between the employees and the management and leadership of a company. The culture of the company, building it, all of that. So the hours are normal, right? An office hour from 8 to 5. And I also researched the rates and the pay. So the employment rates are actually great. So the website even mentions that there's a 7% increase of companies that will expand. So that would mean that they need even more human resources people in those departments. And the average pay is around $100,000 per year, which is really good. And that made it even more appealing to me because I would not be doing something that I like, but I would also be getting paid really good for it. And of course, anybody would want that. Okay, I was totally impressed that they only require just a bachelor's degree. When most companies, most careers, right? You have to go into a master's, into a doctorate. And for human resources, you just need a bachelor's degree for them to employ you. For certifications, right? I went to the Society of Human Resources website because they offer a lot of courses that could help you get certificate for anything that you actually need. And they even offer things that I wouldn't have imagined, like how-to guides and examples of employee handbooks and interview questions. They help you with a lot. And it also offers like state and local updates about the law, right? Anything that has to do with fair lending, the workplace harassment, compensation laws, and even more. With all of this information, I started to think about my plan, right? How I was actually going to obtain this job that was gonna get me those $100,000 a year. And the company that I work for has a lot of opportunities to advance. And when I first started there, it was regular entry-level job, and I was there for a year and got promoted. In this new department, I learned new things that made me think about this company as to where I wanted that job. I was involved in projects, meetings, discussions. I started to feel more than just an employee. And the amazing opportunity came around for an HR position as a specialist. And that would just be to support the HR department in the many tasks that they do. I was so excited. I talked it over with my manager, and she agreed that I should apply, and she would even put a good word for me. And that's when it hit me, my plan, right? I could start building a good relationship with the whole department, even the vice president of the company. And while doing my rotation, I would start collecting all of the things that I did. And if I ever did actually have an interview for a stable position, then I would use these examples to show them that, yes, I remember that I did this and that I have all of this experience. And it was an amazing opportunity for my growth, right? I applied, I did the first interview, I did a second interview, and I actually did get the job. I could not wait to start my rotation and actually show everyone what I had to give. I realized that while I was in my position, I realized that the company was growing even more than I even thought. I helped with so many interviews and open houses that I lost count. And basically it was everything that I always dreamed about. In conclusion, right? Today, I told you a little bit more about how I got to my decision of my career. I told you all of this information about it and the duties and everything. And I actually told you about my plan that it's in development, right? But going to my beginnings, right? Where I panicked, where I was going from high school where everything was given to me to actually defining the work that I would do the rest of my life. And after everything that I've been through and everything that I chose, I know now that no one should worry. No one should be afraid of choosing their careers, because every single experience, good or bad, is there to teach us something and to guide us into a path that is exactly for us. Don't be afraid. Be yourself. Don't worry. Thank you so much.